Hi there, I just wanted to share with you my new Halloween resource. This is a language activity for your speech therapy sessions in the elementary schools, and it is going to be covering basic concepts. So big and small, inside, outside, up and down, top and bottom, night and day. So a lot of really familiar basic concepts for elementary students. So inside this resource, you're going to have 20 basic concepts, 2 game boards, one is marked and one is unmarked. 80 playing cards. 40 of these playing cards will be marked with basic concepts, and the other 40 cards will be blank cards. Then you have 8 characters that are all Halloween characters, and they are going to be your game board pieces for your students to move around the board. You have 1 do-it-yourself die that you can just print and laminate and tape together, or you don't even have to laminate it. You can just tape it together. A Feed the Pumpkin tissue box craft, so you will need an empty tissue box or a bucket or something like that to put the pumpkin on top of. And then I've included 7 bonus homework bracelets because these are one of my favorite tools to use with my students to help communicate to their parents and teachers what they were working on that day in speech. So here we go. Here's the unmarked playing board. I'm going to go back one slide. Here's the unmarked playing board in the top left corner, and it's supposed to be used with the marked playing cards to the right. You can see below that these are the Halloween characters. You have a purple and an orange bat, a ghost, a pumpkin, a werewolf, a vampire, a Frankenstein, and a little girl witch. So your basic concepts that are included are up and down, start and finish, top and bottom, thick and thin, tall and short, big and small, inside, outside, day and night, empty, full, and front and back. Now, the way I would use these cards prior to playing the game with the game board is to take all the task cards, I would cut them up and laminate them and put them face down on the table. So you can play like a little game of memory, and children can try and find the matching cards. So if one child has the card up, they're going to want to find the corresponding antonym, which is down. So you just want to familiarize your students with what the concepts are before you play the game. And then when you play the game, it's going to be played to the rules of Candyland. So if you're not familiar, in Candyland, when you pull a card, so let's say you pulled a card and it had a yellow candy circle on it, then you would move to the next yellow candy on your game board. So if you're on start here and you pull a yellow, you're going to move to the second spot, which is the yellow candy. If you pulled a candy cane, then you're going to go to where the little candy canes are. Now, as you move along the board, let's say you're moving all the way along the board and then you get all the way up to the cupcake, and then the next card you pull is a candy cane, then you're going to have to go all the way back to practically the beginning of the game board. So this is really fun. I mean, it's horrible when it happens to you, but it's really fun and it makes kids more competitive as they race along. So now these game boards, you can print them as individual game boards. So let's say you have a small group of I don't know, not a small group, but like maybe 4 or 5 kids in your speech session. That's usually what I have in mine at the school. And each child can have their own game board. And then the game pieces, you can print them to whatever size you want, okay, to fit onto the game board. And then the task cards you would use in the center of the table for everyone to be using. So here's the game board. Here's a nice big view of it. Here are the task cards, so you see up and down, start and finish, top and bottom, thick and thin, tall and short, the list goes on. You have some extra cards like take an extra turn, and then you have some lollipops and more lollipops and candy canes and some cupcakes. Okay, so now we're going to have the marked game board. So here it is on the top left, and the unmarked task cards. So I created this because I wanted you to have an extra option. Sometimes, you don't want to go to the effort to putting task cards together, and that's totally understandable. So this game board you can use with just little chipper chat tokens, the little magnetic ones that have a magnetic wand. Those are always fun to use. Or you can just have little tokens, and you can either cover up all the pictures on the game board before the child sees it, This takes more prep on your part, but you can have them all covered up, and then it's kind of like a surprise. So they get to take one off, and then they get to label what the concept is in the picture, or you can even use this to be just describing pictures. Or you can have the child start with a blank board, and then they can cover up each circle, each candy as they go along, and they'll make it to the finish by covering up all of the candies. So you can use the die with that to help you move along too, or you can just go and hit all of the candies all together. So here's the game board. So if we started at the beginning, we would go start, and then the next one, the yellow candy has in front, then it's behind, then big, then thin, then thick, then up, or I'm sorry, this is top and then up, top and then, let's see, short. So they can be a little confusing. You want to make sure you're familiar with them before you go through the game board. Here are the blank task cards. And then these are the bonuses. So these are the homework bracelets on the left that are going to have 2 basic concepts on each bracelet, and I've made them antonyms. So you have up and down, top and bottom, big and small, inside, outside, front and back, empty and full, and day and night. And you just want to send your students home wearing these bracelets, because then their teachers can see them and know, oh, they worked on these basic concepts, or their parents will see them, and they're just kind of conversation starters for the adults in your children's, I can't talk at all, in your children's lives, so that they can share what they were doing in speech that day. So that's a bonus for you. And then I have the Feed the Pumpkin tissue box craft. My students love feeding things, especially when they're in tissue boxes. So I've tried to start incorporating them more into my resources, and I hope your students enjoy them too. So I've included the die, and then you want to use the marked task cards with the Feed the Pumpkin activity. So here are the bracelets. And here's the die. You're just going to cut it out, use the sheet to cut it out, and then on the dotted lines, you're going to fold them. And then I usually tape it together, and I also laminate it just to make it more durable and long-lasting. Here's the pumpkin. So you want to cut out this pumpkin from this sheet. And then here are the character markers. So you have a purple bat, a yellow bat, a ghost, a pumpkin, a werewolf, a vampire, a Frankenstein, and a little witch. And my favorite is probably the Frankenstein. I'll be interested to see what you guys like. So the clip holder right here, I have a ton of these in my office, and I'm sure you have some too. And I just discovered this year that you can use them as game board holders, so that you can, little game board character holders, so you can actually pop the picture in here and then pull open the tongs and then move your character around the board. So kind of cool. So use that. And thank you for your purchase. Thank you for being interested in this resource and supporting my creativity and my passion for creating speech therapy materials that I hope work really well in your room and serve you as great tools to get your students communicating. So thank you so much, and I will talk to you later.